What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 405 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, JR. I'm my host joining me, Alex.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I miss you,
Oh.
and I appreciate you. It is warm. My sinuses are exploding, which typically means that it's June. So that's my weather update. That's where we're going with that. Joining us this week, I'm just going to jump right into it. I already feel bad for making them wait. But joining us this week is the co-owner and marketing director of Studio Vibez. This week we're joined by Ian. Ian, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it. JR, Alex, thank you for having me. It's because kind of my first time doing something like this, so forgive me if I just very casual with it. But yeah, just a little intro for myself. I've been in entertainment for the last 7 to 8 years. Alex has been one of my big mentors from work. Definitely look up to him for a lot of inspiration on the creative aspect of things. Apparently, JR was also an old coworker from way back when, so that's to have that legacy coming on. Passing the torch on per se. But yeah, that's pretty much myself.
I don't want to say that I paved the way, but I did put in a whopping two years at an amusement park. So
Those 2 years.
you're welcome.
Yeah, so you had said since 2013, so what was that, 7 years now?
Yeah.
So I've worked at local theme park doing haunt stuff with Ian for a long time. And for the past couple years, like a little over a year, I've seen Ian's social media and what he's been doing. Like, I could tell there's something on his mind, because once in a while he'll put out like a call, a request for talent. He wants to know who's doing stuff. He wants to know who of his friends are making things, who want to get into production, or who's an artist. And I'll say like almost like at least like once a season, maybe, or when he gets the time, or I don't know how you catalog it, but I've consistently seen you like wanting to promote your friends or promote other people and wanting to look for people who are into making stuff. And I've been wondering like what you've got up your sleeve for it to go that far back. And just recently you'd announced Studio Vibez, and I was like, there it is. I found it. So, and you would explain to us in a little bit in pre-show that it's been a dream you've been working on, and I've seen it getting developed. Like, I see you asking for talent and just wanting to know who's making things, and it's very similar to what we do here on the podcast, because we want to talk to a lot of people, and our usual, like, one of our tags is me and JR aren't that interesting, so we want to talk to people who are interesting. we find people cooler than us, and we end up getting this catalog that we could try and dive into and be like, well, who do we want to try this week? Who do we want to get, next week or next month? Who's got a Kickstarter coming up? And it can get exhausting sometimes. So I'm psyched that you're giving this a shot, and I guess what spawned this idea? Like, what made you decide, like, I can do this, and let's get started?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that. I never even noticed till now that someone was watching me all this time, because shit, you've pretty much narrowed me down for the last couple of years then, because I didn't even talk about opening a studio with anybody before. So, like, to keep it a secret for that long, I guess I'm proud of myself. But yeah, basically the whole premise of this was, I went to this like event party in Boston. It was called the space was called the Art Plug Boston, if I'm not mistaken. Basically, it was a collective of Springfield business owners, creatives, makeup artists, artists, performers, etc. Just a lot of really creative, business savvy stuff that was going on. But the unfortunate part was, it was all the way to fucking Boston. So people were pretty much risking their lives driving all the way out there to make this like kind of a networking party per se. But in all reality, it was a very fun, like exciting idea that I wanted to bring home, because literally there was like 4 or 5 people in that whole event that were already from Boston, and then everyone else in that building was from Springfield. So it was just like kind of sad to see that there's no space or no outlet for that kind of creativity going on. And so what I figured was, I was like, all right, so possibly let me get some investors, make us like build or invest into a space that we can actually do that here. And then instead of, basically promoting how cool Boston already is, let's see how cool Springfield actually is. So basically like that was pretty much the beginning process of that idea.
Yeah. And because we're in a difficult area, since there's not a lot of gigs and jobs around here. There's a few, but we're basically in between Boston and New York City. And if performers want to get work, oftentimes they have to travel to either of those two places. And so it's good finding a way to try and get work locally. Because being where we are in the entertainment industry, like I've met people and I go, oh, they don't belong here. They're better. They should be somewhere else. But like it's a big chance to try and move to New York or California and to get work. And meanwhile, it would be really nice if there could be work locally around here.
Yep.
So I get what you're saying. It's like it's providing a space or an outlet, or at least ideas of how to utilize people's talents and without having them, risk moving.
Yep. Yeah. Basically, all it was just like, I know so many like creative people around here. A bunch of the makeup artists that we work with. All of the talented, actors and performers at, our other jobs too. And just being surrounded with so much talent with no outlet kind of just made me kind of, like think of like basically like, you had one of those times where you're like trying to remember somebody's name and all you do all day long is think about it until you like you finally figure it out. Mm-hmm. That's what basically happened, was like, oh, what the fuck can I do to, kind of solve this problem? So yeah. And then I saw that event, went to it, just enjoyed it all together. And then, started plotting. Like you said, you saw me post, you saw me literally watch me do it for years then. That's just what like still kind of mind boggles me that, someone paid attention.
Well, if it's, I'm getting a little personal for a second. The people I don't like, I don't pay attention to.
Fair enough.
But one of the things I was telling Joe, I was like, Ian's a genuinely good dude, and I've never had a reason to dislike you. And you've always been really positive, like kind of annoyingly positive and so supportive. And I'm like, I really wanted to see where this goes.
Yeah. Much appreciated. See, that's a really good description of how energetic I can be. And I'm going to use that during my interviews and stuff. It's like, I'm annoyingly positive. It's like, what do you mean? You'll figure that out if you hire me.
With when I think of like studio, because this is going to be a studio space now. Yeah. To someone like me who is not creative, historically not creative, and struggles with things like that, like especially growing up, like when I think of the word studio, I'm like, oh, that's where musicians go to make music, that they go to the studio. But now I feel like studio has evolved, and also maybe I'm just an idiot and I no longer live in the tiny little box that I was raised in. It encompasses so much more than just things like music or maybe like an art studio. What kind of products or services, or if someone needed to make something, what could they go to Studio Vibez for?
Yeah, so to kind of explain a little bit on how like this works is that I myself am a marketer. I've done marketing for several years now. So basically, my first job ended up being the perfect outlet for me to open a lot of the doors that I've been to. So I've just had a good marketing experience. Kind of had a knack for it to start. I think it's the annoyingly positive thing. So that's pretty much got me to where I am right now with it. And then a couple of friends of mine are photographers and videographers. They do this on their own, like part time, basically working full time to fund their dream. Mm-hmm. So I told both of them, "Hey, come on, like I have this idea. Let's get this going." And then another friend of mine is also a part time graphic designer, and kind of just does it for fun. Designs tattoos for people, designs graphics for a lot of companies for free, not even charging them. And I told him, I'm like, "Hey, man, you don't have to work so hard if you made your actual passion, profitable." So the four of us, a collective, we decided on creating the studio, and explaining what we consider a studio would be like content creation, because nowadays it's not even just about a picture, a sound, it's everything, it encompasses a lot. Most people would prefer a TikTok rather than, generic advertisement on YouTube. So you gotta just make it entertaining and involve it. So we kind of figured we can all be, we're all pretty much have this like symbiotic relationship where we benefit from each other no matter what. Like I can get clients to my partners, and they're gonna need marketing. So, and no matter what, someone's winning in this circle. And then whenever you start a brand, you're gonna need graphics and logos. So my other partner gets to eat too. So pretty much it's kind of a very synergistic relationship with each other. Like, we have good vibes. That's why we called ourselves Studio Vibez. And we focus on a lot of photos, videos, music videos, like anything you can possibly think of as content, we probably could make. My other partner has a podcast. Gabe does a lot of music videos and tours for local businesses like MGM and the Big E. So just to name a few, and just all the other tons of experience in this group. So pretty much to sum it up is we focus on anything you might find on the internet or anywhere on a billboard or advertising.
How did you come to essentially this web of contacts that you have, and the fact that you have friends who kind of have their toes in every facet of content creation? Are these childhood friends? Are they connections? How did you come to know these people?
So I mean, realistically, none of them are childhood friends, because I grew up in the Philippines for my first 13 years on Earth. So, I moved here when I was 13 back in 2009 with my mother, and I had to start from ground zero with friends as far as I was concerned. So, totally different country, totally different language, had to acclimate to, the social climate of Springfield. And it's not really, an urban city is not really the most comfortable environment, I would say, as coming from an immigrant, because it was very different from what I was used to. So definitely all like homebrew, like made friends throughout the years. Just a friend of a friend introduces me. We end up bonding over a simple joke, maybe a glass of wine or over a plate of food, anything of the sorts. And then I kind of just try to keep that relationship going as far as I can, because at some point you're going to need my help and I'm going to need yours. So, it's pretty much a lot of, grassroots networking.
That is extremely commendable, because I have had the benefit, or whatever you want to call it, of, I've lived here my entire life. And even then, Alex will be the first one to tell you when we're out at a show or if we're trying to make connections, I am historically bad at it. So, because it's not easy to put yourself out there and kind of make those connections. And for some people it might come easier, but I gotta say, man, like, all the congrats in the world for coming here. It's not your your original home. It's to someone like me who has lived in that tiny box. It's commendable, man. It's amazing.
I appreciate that. I really do. You know, like when like I hate to sound corny as fuck, but it's like when people say the American dream, you know, like that, I don't really consider that, you know, like a thing, but you can definitely, from anywhere in the world, somebody can manifest anything if they really, you know, put their heart to it. So it doesn't even matter where you are, you know, in the world, like, but like everyone just calls it the American dream. So I just refer to it as that. But, you know, I never even thought of being a business owner of some sort, or, you know, any kind of like administrative position, because I've always enjoyed working with people. So the whole premise with Studio Vibez was always going to be a solo idea. It was never really going to be like a shared thing, because I know like some partnerships turn sour throughout the years and shit like that. But I feel like, regardless of the fact, I just want people to collaborate more instead of bash each other, because a lot of the shit I saw growing up was pretty much just like, I'm better than you, I'm always going to be the better one in this area, instead of we're the best team in this area, let's go after whatever. So, you know,
I can't tell if that's becoming more common, or if it's always been around and I just haven't seen it, or if it's still very, you know, I'm going to do this on my own because I'm better. And if the teamwork aspect is just not as familiar as I would hope it is. Right.
I mean, that's, like I said, it's just like, for some reason, people that I've met throughout the years, I've never, like Gabe, just a pure example, I went to high school with him. He was a grade below me. Never really interacted in high school, but I knew that he did photography. I always said, I followed him on social media as he was a sophomore. And from those 2 years of like knowing him in high school, just remember that this kid's really good at photos. I hope to, you know, be able to help him out one of these days. And sooner coming than later, I needed photography help for my cousin's wedding. And boom, I just remembered that this kid did photos, and then he did my cousin's wedding. We partied. And then from then on out, I always remember, like, I'm going to go to this kid for photos all the time. So just those raw kind of like relationship moments that I've seen don't really happen anymore too. So I can understand why you would say that.
So I'm going to have a little bit of like grandpa advice.
Yeah.
At some point, it might get overwhelming, because you're going to make more friends and more contacts, and it's going to become a struggle on who to pick for certain projects. And just the aspect of like, well, if I don't go with this person, will this person feel bad? And you have to try and tailor what you're doing and what you're making, and either find the strong suit or pick who hasn't had a shot yet. It's a little, it had a little bit of anxiety, I guess.
Right. No, I understand that. It's funny you said that, because I've actually just been put into that predicament not too long ago, because in the planning of this, I spoke to a lot of people. I messaged, coworkers of ours, Mike Norman. I reached out to a lot of old supervisors. I mean, anyone who I knew that had some kind of talent within the content creation world, definitely reached out and just pitched my little idea, because at that point I never even mentioned that it was going to be a co-ownership, because I was just looking for talent, and I was going to pay people just to have the space, just to basically use their talents and make profit from it. But I would rather have them be a part of the movement instead of just be employees, because I don't really see the benefit of just paying someone for their talents when you don't even give them the chance to express it. So
one thing I guess it's almost going to sound negative, because you released the idea, you had your first couple of posts like, this is what I'm doing now, and if people want to come by the studio, And my first thought was, just because I'm being cautious, dude, and I'm like, is now the best time to have people over? with the social distancing and like the reason we're in different places right now, normally we'd all be in the same studio. But it had to be a struggle just to choose now's the time, if it's now or never. If you just wait, and if you just keep waiting, you might not get the chance, or you'll lose the space or the right opportunity. You could have missed it, and then you'll just be asking yourself, well, what if I did this earlier? What if I missed it? It's what we call, when we go to convention, we look at art and we want to buy this picture of Wolverine or some shit. And it's like, if I walk away and don't buy this, will I regret it?
Yeah, that's funny. I'm actually wearing a Wolverine shirt right now. So, but I totally get that. I definitely got that feeling because of the Indian Orchard Mills is where we're located in Springfield. So it's right on the border of Ludlow and Indian Orchard. It's basically an abandoned an old paper mill converted to studio spaces via cubicle. Mm-hmm. Like at an office cubicle, they're just basically walls put up in between a long ass floor space with sliding doors. So it's very inviting as far as being a creative. So because you always got your theater kids, the weird kids that are into anime. It's not the most friendly space out there.
Yeah.
Socially, and then when you walk into this place, you're just like, fuck, I feel like I'm home. Like, you always get that like warm, like cozy feeling that you're invited to this place at all times. So that's why I kind of picked that place, because a friend of mine, Rob, he has a clothing brand in Springfield, has a place there with a couple of partners, but doesn't even know who the guys really are. They just found each other on the internet, kind of like pay the rent type of deal, very transactional relationship with each other. So I wanted something very different than that. I wanted an open space ready for whatever you got to throw at it. So if someone wants to come and record a music video that they made, feel free. You have the whole thing for 3 hours. You need it. Any equipment you have, any kind of help you need, editing, graphic work, creative work, directive work, we provide it. So that's awesome to kind of just see it slowly kind of come together is really kind of fulfilling. So
in putting together the studio, because they're kind of popping up like with the whole like abandoned mill aspect. Like you see there's what is it called, Eastworks up in East Hampton. There was I grew up in a very small town in Connecticut, which has famously had like an abandoned old like textile factory,
the carpet factory.
Something I can't remember exactly what it was, but like for years and years and years, a bunch of different people bought it. They were going to convert it. And then like it was never going to happen. It was just an old dilapidated building. But finally, like within the last couple of years, it's their apartments now. Mm-hmm. It's such a. And like, I'm not even trying to bash it. I'm not saying, oh, you see it everywhere. It's rad. I love them. I love going to places like that.
It's very very trendy. Like the Eastworks building in East Hampton. Everyone loves that fucking rustic shit. It's like even in home interior design, everyone's one like wooden barn doors or like non-conventional
exposed beams.
Like, yeah, exactly. The studs on the inside. Like. Fuck is happening, but it's like I kind of just went with the flow, and then in the world of marketing, it's like if you don't evolve, you don't survive. So it's very much like that. So the whole premise of it came from Rooster Teeth, red versus blue, Achievement Hunter, very like homebrew video game type content, and from their tiny little YouTube series of Halo comes this multi-million-dollar company that tours every couple of months now, and they do RTX out in Texas, and it's just crazy because all they needed was a space and a bunch of fucking funny, chill dudes that could work together. So and you'd never know where it would take them.
They came before YouTube to hear them talk about it. And because they had to upload their videos themselves, and they were just losing money over having to pay for bandwidth for people to watch their videos. It was costing them so much. They would take out loans for like $90,000 just because that's how much bandwidth their videos were taking up. And then like YouTube became a thing, and they go, "Oh, this is so much easier."
Hey man, they're definitely one of the grandfathers, like OGs of YouTube. You know, even it's just sad to see that, you know, like a lot of the old famous YouTubers, they don't have that longevity. You know, Shane Dawson, and all them, Equals 3. You know, those like fucking classic YouTubers. It just never survived the test of time because they didn't evolve. But you know, every channel that I know that does reviews or anything like that is because of Ray William Johnson. You know, just you develop the idea and everyone just copies and pastes, but you're still credited for that idea. So I figured, why not bring that here? You know, I took it from somewhere and then hope to turn it into something else. So, you know, like how we talk about it at work, it's not really stealing if you're utilizing it the way you're supposed to use it. So as far as you know, scaring techniques and whatnot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There's been a few times where I've done something and felt guilty if I don't give credit to who I stole it from.
yeah. I literally today I messaged the two people that drove me to Boston on Instagram. I was like, "Hey, thank you. Because of you guys, I wouldn't have had this," you know?
Huh.
So
what kind of challenges have come in getting this studio set up, in putting everything together, you know, with your partners? Because I know, you know, it's one thing when you're working alone and you can make all the decisions yourself, but sometimes when there's, you know, multiple people, sometimes people can butt heads. You know, what challenges have you had to overcome in getting Studio Vibez off the ground?
Yeah, like as you two were alluding to earlier with the whole COVID situation, it was just like no one's really wanting to rent right now, you know, like no doors are open to anyone because of just safety reasons and whatnot. But it was securing down the space because like we're like, just not even to get a little personal here, but a few weeks ago I wasn't even getting any unemployment because I wasn't qualified for some reason. But I plead and beg for a few hours over the phone, and then the next day I, you know, got that pandemic assistance and the unemployment. So without even that, with that kind of funding that I was getting, I would have not been able to get this idea off the ground per se. So it was just a lot of timing, you know. It's kind of like cynical to say, but fucking COVID got me off my feet. I was so fucking bored, not doing shit. I had nothing better to do but to better, you know, pursue my ideas. So it's just like I learned a few different things all throughout this quarantine time. Learn how to fucking play the ukulele for ha-has, but you know, just out of pure boredom, it spawned that, you know, I remembered that event that I saw and wanted to bring that to Springfield. So literally went on Facebook, scrolled down my friends list, messaged 10, 20 people about it that I thought would be, you know, capable partners. Like, I definitely passed on some good talent, but I know that if we ever gave them the reels to a sleigh, we'd all fucking end up in the side of a mountain. So, you know, it's one of those kind of decisions. It's just like, you're cool, but I don't really trust you making decisions with money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the end of the day, it was just like the best of the best, you know, narrowed them down. 5 people responded. Out of the 5, one person was really the gung-ho one, but it was all timing. He was ready to go and buy a studio himself, but couldn't afford to solo it.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically told him 50-50. And then he said, yeah. And then I was like, cool. And then he just found another partner. He found another creative just like him. So it's all you know, spawned off of this kind of energy that I've always had with people, where if you're fucking cool, we're going to hang, we're going to make shit. and we're gonna make it happen.
I'm the type of person that likes to play the wait and see game. It's unfortunate sometimes because I'm not a supporter right out the gate, because I often wait to see how they do, or I want to see what they produce. And then, like, if I could see good progress coming out, then I'll applaud them and be like, let's help, let's promote, we'll put some work down. Because I'm a cynical old man now. and
I feel like what's happened to me, I'm just so fucking negative a lot of the time. And it's just like, what the hell happened? I used to be so positive about things, and I'm just like, oh, the world's ending, shit.
I've definitely had my own business partnership that's dissolved terribly in the past, and I guess that's might have kind of jaded me. But at least having this podcast and having run for so long, we kind of have the time to, sit back and watch and go, I'm keeping my eye on this artist, or I'm keeping my eye on this show, or, maybe we don't want to report on this convention because it's its first year, but we'll see how they improve and see what they might change. And we'll seek it out later.
Funny you said that. I know exactly what you're talking about. I reached out to that guy and never got an email back. Bastard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What kind of hurdles do you expect, I guess, for since you have a space, you have people, do you have plans for equipment, or does each partner have like their own, or their own array of stuff that they'd be using, or is there stuff that you would keep in supply at the space? How do you plan on that working?
So basically, we all bring in, we all bring something to the table. Literally, we have a table in the middle of the studio with something that we bring. I have my marketing gear, bunch of cameras, different, literally a stack of business cards on a paper clip, those like black clip that we use for chips, but as actually for paperwork. Something full like that of business cards that I literally sort through, read them, every single one, and see like, oh, look, it's a graphic designer. Maybe they need a team. Maybe they need help with something, or creative ideas, whatnot. I literally just like cold call, in today's terms, I guess, cold email everyone until I get a hit. And that's what I bring to the table. I bring you your supply of business. So Gabe and my other business partner, Ethan, they are both photographers with their own gear, with their own experience in different kinds of aspects of photography and videography. So, everyone kind of brings something to the table already that kind of all works together. Like, without photography and videography, there wouldn't be marketing, and without graphic designs and shit, there wouldn't be marketing either. So, like, everyone is very helpful in that aspect. My graphic design artist at the studio has his own iPad with the, like the drawing programs. But yeah, everyone just kind of brings literally what they have all to the table until we can. I've already had 4 or 5 clients hit me up just from the first original teaser. I literally showed a video of the empty, barren warehouse space that we got, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's a space," So it's kind of like that. It's just been very slow and like time consuming as far as making sure everyone actually can bring in some kind of a cash flow.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of booking and getting in touch with you, that's one thing that we have not touched on. And as we come to the end of our conversation here, if people are interested in Studio Vibes, if they maybe have something they want to put together, maybe want to like pick your brain about setting something up, where can they find you?
Shit, this is live promotion. Damn it. But yeah, you can find us on Instagram at studio.vibes with a Z. all lowercase, nothing fancy. And on Facebook as well, we are called the same exact thing, studio.vibes with a Z. And we have a book now button on either page. Definitely check it out. We will be posting a lot more content pretty soon. We're just kind of slow running because I was, when I was not working, I was working full time at the studio from 9 to 3 a.m. every day, and now I'm back to work at my new job. So it's kind of like I try to dedicate as much time as I can to the studio whenever I can. So, definitely getting that hit of adult life and business owner, like work now. So, all very new to me, all very new to everyone. So, forgive us if we don't get back to you as soon as we can, but somebody will reach out to you when you email us on either one of those business pages.
Excellent, man. Now, while I was doing my lurking, I did come across a photo of you posing with what looks like an Evo. Are you an Evo guy? No love for the Subaru. What's going on there?
So, funny story. The first car I've ever driven as a kid was a 1993 Volkswagen Evo, not Volkswagen, 1993 Mitsubishi Evo. And a 1993 Volkswagen Beetle. And I just so happened to like the Evo more because it was my dad's car.
Evos are legendary, despite the fact that I drive a Subaru myself. My first love will always be Mitsubishi.
Ain't nothing wrong with the Rexy, man. Just saying.
Oh man, I like you more and more. But
sorry, just had to take a friendly jab.
I get it, 100%. I felt like this is a conversation for another time. But otherwise, I'm going to dive in way too deep, and we're already probably over on time. But Ian, this was fantastic. This was enlightening. That I am psyched to see what comes out of Studio Vibes. I'm blown away by your work ethic and what you're putting into this, especially with everything that's going on right now. It cannot be easy. So again, all the kudos, and I hope the sky's the limit, man. It looks great. But thank you for coming on. This was great. Had a great time talking with you.
Awesome. Appreciate it, JR. Much appreciated.
Go check out Studio Vibes. Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram. Find them in Springfield if you're in the area, or maybe if you feel like traveling, you can hit up Ian and his crew for all of your content creation needs. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next Rooster Teeth. You never know what might happen.
Most definitely.
But this was great, man. Thank you again. So until next time, I have been JR.
I'm Alex.
I'm pretty sure I'm still Ian.
We'll double check, but I think the odds are good. But this has been episode 405 of Opinions May Vary.